Another week and another paid ad by Tony Khan, AEW President, Founder and CEO on Impact Wrestling. And this week's one was really interesting. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, if you're familiar with some of the videos that we've done about AEW and Impact Wrestling, you'll know we have covered every single paid ad that Tony Khan has done on Impact Wrestling, along with Tony Schiavone, Jerry Lynn, and others. And we're going to do the same here because we're going to break down what this latest paid ad featured, what I thought about it, the mannerisms, the development, what does it mean going forward. It certainly was really interesting. And I know I say this every time we talk about the paid ads. I say this every time we talk about Tony Khan and his role on Impact Wrestling going forward since December, but I really did think this was the best one yet. I know that I say that every week and you might roll your eyes at it. Obviously, last week actually featured an in-person appearance by Tony Khan inside of the Impact Zone. We didn't get that this week, but we got, once again, a really interesting development when it came to Tony Khan and Impact Wrestling. So, AEW's latest paid advertisement on Impact Wrestling has Tony Khan leaning even further into this heel role that he could be doing in Impact Wrestling going forward. Now, as you can see on the video on Impact Wrestling social media platforms, they're not hard to find, Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone continue their weekly habit of making jokes at the expense of Impact Wrestling and Access TV while hyping up today's edition of Dynamite on TNT. Now, in this week's ad, Tony Khan mentioned that his actions in Impact Wrestling, such as his involvement in the main event last week, are, quote, all a game to him. He said that Impact is like his own personal fantasy league, and in week one, he already has the number one contenders to the Impact Tag Team titles in AEW Tag Team Private Party. Now, he goes full drunk with power and talks about how everyone from AEW is in the zone right now, and they ran down the card for Dynamite. So, this was really interesting because I think when it comes to Tony Khan and these paid advertisements that he's been doing, I mention this every single week, and this isn't about me being proved right by any stretch of the imagination, but it's what we've been saying here before, that every single week when Tony Khan is on Impact, there is another development. If you go all the way back to the first one that he did, way back when, after the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite, on that first AEW Impact Wrestling edition in December, it was a paid ad by Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone, and you know what, it just felt like at the time, look, I'm the AEW president, look at me, it's Tony Khan, I'm on Impact Wrestling, what a strange picture this is, it's a novelty, it's interesting. Whereas now, Tony Khan's a character. Tony Khan is a full-blown character in Impact Wrestling at this point. And I've been saying this for a while, that Tony Khan's ability to cut a promo is really, really underrated. If you don't think that Tony Khan can cut a good promo, I challenge you to watch these paid ads, because every single week he gets better. And I've laughed at him, and I've sort of mocked the way he stands, arms folded, pushing out the biceps, that kind of stuff. This week was arguably the most animated we've seen Tony Khan. Tony Khan was getting sarcastic. He was getting in full heel mode. He was pointing at the camera. You can see it right there. He's pointing at the camera. He was mocking Impact. I don't think he really was challenging Don Callis here. It's kind of shifted from that. Previously, all of these ads on Impact have been centered around Don Callis and Kenny Omega, because, of course, Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, was appearing regularly on Impact. He didn't appear this week. Kenny Omega and Don Callis, they're on hiatus right now, as they're just going to be appearing on AEW for a couple of weeks or a couple of months or so. But Tony Khan, he's appearing on Impact regularly. And instead of Tony Khan, taking shots at Kenny Omega or taking shots at Don Callis, calling Don Callis a carny, or saying that he's allowing Kenny Omega to appear on Impact Wrestling. If he didn't want to have Kenny Omega appear, he could make it happen just like that. He's allowing Kenny Omega to do that. He could file an injunction. He's actually funding Impact Wrestling by doing these paid ads, that kind of stuff. It changed this week. And to be fair, it probably changed last week, actually, but truly it changed this week. Tony Khan isn't the naive billionaire fan that just so happens to own AEW now. He's something different. He is something different now. He's a character on Impact Wrestling, there's no doubt, and he's a heel. He's a heel in Impact Wrestling. In that universe, he's a heel. And you can just tell, Tony Khan is having a ball doing this. He's having such a good time doing this. And as he mentioned, I don't want to say he's becoming Mr. McMahon, because he's not. Tony Khan is different than that, but he is coming across, especially in last night's paid advertisement, that he's the guy with all of the money. He's just doing this as a hobby. He's just messing with Impact as a hobby, and like he said, it's his own personal fantasy league, and by doing that, he's already sending people into Impact. He's invading Impact Wrestling. He's already got his own tag team and Private Party being the #1 contenders for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Now, I don't think Private Party will win the tag titles at No Surrender, but I don't think this AEW involvement's going anywhere anytime soon. I think Tony Khan is going to appear on Impact every single week, whether it's in person or in these paid advertisements, and he's getting way more animated. Again, if you go all the way back to that first one, he was obviously a bit nervous. I thought he cut a decent promo, but he was a bit nervous. He was a bit reserved. Now it's a completely different guy. You can see the look on his face. He's pointing to the camera. He's mocking Impact for being a small company. He's saying that he's funding it, and this is just simply a game, and he's getting sarcastic and he's getting over the top. Even last week, when he was sitting in the audience last week and he was taking his notes and his little Star Trek notepad and doing all that kind of stuff, ultimately, he had one of his, I guess you would call him in the Attitude Era, his stooges, in the same way that Jerry Briscoe and Pat Patterson were Vince McMahon's stooges. You had Jerry Lynn, who is one of Tony Khan's stooges last week, get involved and cost Chris Sabin and James Storm the match against Private Party. So this guy's a heel. This guy's a heel, and I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I know some people are quick to jump on it and quick to say that, oh, he said he would never become a character, and he said he would never become a character on AEW TV and all that kind of stuff. He promised he wouldn't become Vince McMahon. He said that he wasn't a wrestler. He's not a wrestler. He's a character, though. Having Tony Khan on Impact every single week, does that improve Impact? I think it does. It's certainly something people are talking about, as of right now when we're recording. The Tony Khan vignette promo that he cut last night with Tony Schiavone, where they ran down the card of Dynamite and they ran down Impact Wrestling for that matter, it's got 1,100 likes. That's pretty good for Impact Wrestling. You have to remember, yes, they do have a large following on Twitter. It's debatable about how realistic some of those followers are, if they're old accounts, if they're bots. I don't really want to go into that. But they have a relatively good engagement rate, not as maybe as high as AEW, but every time Tony Khan cuts a promo, every time Tony Khan appears on the show, people engage with it. People listen. We make videos about it. We talk about it because they're interesting and they're out of the norm. They're different. And I thought last night's was a perfect continuation of that. And it's funny. It is funny because you have to think of where's the end game for this. Where are they going to go with Tony Khan as a heel character in Impact Wrestling going forward? And you know what? I don't know. I don't know because I don't personally know if there's an end game of terms of him getting in the ring. I really, really can't see that happening. But I think as a character on the show, I think it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. When else have you seen something like that happen? When have you seen an owner, a CEO, a billionaire of another pro wrestling company be a regular character, not on his show, but on someone else's show, on another promotion show? This is so odd and so unique, but I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. Now, I've mentioned before when it comes to the AEW and Impact Wrestling relationship that while I do love the Tony Khan stuff and the Tony Schiavone stuff and Jerry Lynn being on Impact, I do feel like we need more of it on AEW Dynamite in terms of the ratings for Impact Wrestling. Obviously, they're going to come out today, so we'll probably talk about them tomorrow as far as what are the Impact ratings this week, because they were slightly disappointing. I think people thought they were going to be higher and better coming out of Hard to Kill, and that just wasn't the case. But I think I would like, and I don't know if this is the case in terms of people from Impact, so I don't know, but if I was an Impact official, if I was Don Callis, if I was Scott D'Amore, Ed Nordholm, one of those guys, I would prefer to maybe have more advertisement from AEW on their show on Dynamite and TNT because they do have a larger audience. But look, at the end of the day, this is unique. It's very unique, and I think Tony Khan does a great job. I say it every single week here. Tony Khan, I think, is a really underrated promo. I think there is this narrative that this guy couldn't be a character, this guy couldn't talk, or he can't cut a promo to say his life. He's never been in pro wrestling. How can he cut a promo? Just because you haven't been in pro wrestling 20 years doesn't mean you can't cut a good promo. Some people are naturally good talkers. I say this every time we talk about Tony Khan. Tony Khan is a very, very successful businessman. Now, you can talk about where he got the money from, his father being the billionaire, that makes Tony Khan a billionaire. I know, I get it, right? I get it. But what you can't argue with, this is a very successful businessman, whether it is with the Jacksonville Jaguars, whether it is with Fulham FC over here in the United Kingdom, whether it is with AEW. AEW is a success. It was profitable in its first year. That never happens in most companies, let alone pro wrestling. He's also got other investments in Nashville, Tennessee. He represents music acts. He owns hotels. He's got his fingers in a lot of pies, and you don't get that way without being able to talk. You don't get to that level of success without having an ability to publicly speak, talk clearly, get your message across. And that's essentially what a pro wrestling promo is. Now, I think what some people thought he might not be able to do is sort of become this bigger and larger than life character. I think that's what made, Vince McMahon successful in the Attitude Era, is that, yes, he is a crazy man. He is. I don't think the Mr. McMahon character is all that far from Vince McMahon. I think this version of Tony Khan is definitely more different than the real Tony Khan, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work. I think it does work. And I look forward to his paid advertisements every week. We knew it was coming this week. Was it slightly disappointing that Tony Khan wasn't there in person again? Maybe. We knew he was at the tapings. I think these are actually filmed backstage at Impact Wrestling as well. I don't know, because obviously they do run down the actual card, so I think that one's maybe a little bit debatable. I don't know. But Tony Khan's actually mentioned in recent interviews, he's been at all the Impact tapings, going back to whenever they've been filming content. He's always been there because he's there with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's there representing AEW, and Tony Khan's there representing AEW as well. From a business point of view, it makes sense. I mean, this is your world champion. You still don't want your company to be mocked or your company to come off looking badly. You want to protect your product, protect your investment, so it makes sense for him to be there. And if he's there, get him involved in the show. And it looks to me at this point that every single time he does these paid advertisements every week, it just comes across like he's having more and more fun, and he really is growing into this character. And we know the best things in pro wrestling are things that necessarily aren't planned. They evolve over time. They are organic, and that's what these paid ads feel like. I feel like at the start, yeah, they were just a novelty. And yeah, Tony, do you want to be on the show? Well, they'll plug it at AEW. Not that they need it. I don't think people that are watching Impact are going, I'm not going to watch AEW. Oh wait, there's a thing called AEW. I didn't know. I just watched Impact every week. I don't think that's the case. I think it was just a novelty at the start of going, look, it would probably get some buzz online that the AEW president, who we never really see on AEW television except in the odd cameo behind the scenes or something like that, we never see Tony Khan really on camera. We have over the course of the last couple of months, but previously we hadn't really all that much. I said the odd cameo, if that. It would be a novelty, and it'd be interesting if we saw you on camera cutting a promo and, retaliating or responding to what Kenny Omega and Don Callis are doing. And like I said, that issue's kind of been put on the back burner now. Now, Tony Khan's issue isn't really with Don Callis or Kenny Omega. Tony Khan's issue is with Impact Wrestling. For whatever reason, he's got in his head, Tony Khan character, of course, that he's just going to mock Impact Wrestling. He's going to prove that he's bigger than Impact. He's this billionaire. He can walk into a company like Impact. He can infiltrate the zone. He can get in the zone. And he can invade Impact Wrestling and do what he wants. And in 1 week, he did what he wanted. So imagine what he could do going forward. That's what it kind of was last night. It was also a little bit of a tease of, look what I did in 1 week last week. Think what I could do if I really put my mind to it. If I really wanted to invade Impact. And I think those subtle teases do imply that some more stuff is coming. Some more stuff is coming. I know, again, I say this all the time when it comes to AEW and Impact, this working relationship, but I really don't even think we've even hit the apex of it right now. I really don't. I think looking at it from this point of view and looking at how it's developing week to week, it feels like something big is coming. Something big is coming. Whether it is an AEW versus an Impact television special, whether it is a full-blown AEW invasion of Impact, whether it's a full-blown Impact invasion of AEW. Something big feels like it's brewing. And I don't know what it is. We can all speculate. We can all be fantasy booker. We can all wonder what is coming in the future, but I would be very, very surprised if Tony Khan's in-person appearance last week on Impact was the last time we see him inside the Impact Zone. I think he's going to be doing more appearances there in the future. We're going to see this heel persona of this heel billionaire promoter of Tony Khan really begin to flourish in Impact, and I'm all for it. I really am all for it. I think it's a really interesting character, and I think it's something we haven't seen before, certainly from Tony Khan, because we've never seen him as a character anyway, before all of this Impact stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can get this personality out of him. It looks like we are, and I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it, and I thought, again, I know I say it every week, and maybe the promo wasn't as good as last week's because Tony Khan, at the end of it, you had the swerve where he was in the Impact Zone and then he appeared at ringside. That was pretty special. But in terms of the Tony Khan character and the persona, again, I thought the promo was better than last week. I do. I think every single week, I think it gets better. Every single week when you have these paid ads that last 60 seconds, 90 seconds, at the end of it, I go, man, that was really good. And that was better than last week. And I have that same feeling every single week. So I'm excited. And as I always say, when it comes to AEW and Impact right now, this is only the beginning. It's the tip of the iceberg. I think there is way, way more to come when it comes to AEW and Impact Wrestling. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on AEW President Tony Khan's latest paid advertisement on Impact last night? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about Impact Wrestling, AEW, WWE, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community, drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or have you come across this video today. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.